Latrice, how are you since the 12 hours it's been since I last seen you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just about recovered from yesterday, I think. So can't
feeling
complain.
fresh. I didn't abuse it too much. I was just shooting the whole time. So I'm good.
I think that's the trick. The thing is, I didn't even drink that much. It's just 11-hour day was intense, I think. But
I think I just jumped in the zone. I realised that when I had the exhibition here.
That's
when I realised the camera thing is a hack when you're at these long all-day events. I just jump behind the camera. It's like I'm not here until I'm here. Yeah,
I like go for it. But yeah, what did you think of Enigma?
Enigma was live. Enigma was maybe better than Delve. Maybe.
Ooh.
But Enigma in the Delve space would have been even better.
Yeah, that would have been.
Or just a space of that size and like ceilings that high and things like that. But I feel like the turnout was maybe better, not in terms of numbers, but in terms of variety. Like how many different bits of Northampton and how many different age groups and different generations and whatnot came through. And we had way more artists as well.
True.
Different stuff going on.
It was cool. And 2 shows as well.
Yeah, exactly. If we include the other one.
The End of Nights one is,
works too.
which was kind of bonus, but I'm kind of treating them as basically a package deal sort of thing.
Yeah,
it kind of
for
feels
me it
like
was kind of like the buffer, because I showed the same thing at both, and we was already doing Enigma, and then that came up, and it was sort of like, yeah, cool, let's sort of squeeze them in together. But some people showed different things, so I guess it might be different for them.
Yeah, it was a nice thing to have. I'm kind of treating the, like, what's now, because it wasn't even N&A at Delve, was it? It was just a group show, and then we did another one. So, but
exactly.
But I'm kind of in my head of like broken it down into like eras, and I think those 2 shows are like the Enigma era, even if
100%.
Yeah,
it's one little era.
But and now on to the future, whatever it will lead to. Which it's just I feel like it's gonna be an interesting couple of weeks. I can't lie.
Yeah, no, I think so. What are you looking forward to the most?
What across? I don't know. I think it's how, like, just where we go from here. Obviously, I'm sitting on fucking massive amount of footage from both shows as well. Yeah. So like now we don't have to worry about exhibiting and all the other stuff, cracking on with all the other elements of that little video. But I think it'll be interesting to see what, because in that time as well, people are talking about trying to get like the actual what it is we're doing written down within that little collective.
Manifesto type.
Yeah, because
manifesto's a good word.
Because to be fair, I feel like it's only become the N&A collective throughout these 2 shows. Because even when it was like, okay, we're doing another show, it was still kind of like Delve, and then kind of like we started using the name and just kind of like
we decided we need a name. What should we call it?
Yeah.
So I guess that's just the first show that's come up since we landed on that name, because we landed on that a little while ago, didn't we?
Yeah, but it's kind of someone just renamed the group chat, right? That's how it felt to me until people started using it. I was like, okay, we're going with this, are we?
Who suggested it? I don't know if it was it Kari who suggested it, or was it Ty?
I remember Kari suggested, it was like we were all at the Gary for some reason. Yeah. I think it was one of the game nights. And Kari recommended NBA as like Northampton-based artists.
Yeah,
but also like a pun, and I think it was
someone thought you meant Northampton black artists. And was like, hold on, what about these guys?
Yeah, and also obviously like the basketball league as well. So I think people were like, and then I think it just got swapped out to NNA, and then it just kind of stuck. So I guess that's what we're calling it now. It's kind of slow.
We'll see.
Yeah.
See, I guess we could change it if we wanted to.
Well, true. No one's going to tell us.
Still come to the show. It's
fine. They came to the shows before it was named.
Exactly.
So assumably, if we change the
it's
name.
more the name, except for what you call it. Okay, it's only the Vulcan Works one that we actually pushed it under that name, because Enigma had it on the flyer, but it was Enigma. It was Delve. Yeah. It was Ken.
I think it's because they had their own name for it as well. So it was kind of like we just had to. But our show, but no one wanted to use Enigma for that.
No, it wouldn't have made sense. That wasn't our show. That was an event that, same collective was taking part at. So it wouldn't have made sense to call that Enigma.
I think that.
What did I say in the group chat? Pre-Enigma. That's dead. I'm so glad no one tried to run with that. Don't do that. I'm playing.
But I feel like that show was an unexpected success.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of a bit like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and like obviously I kind of like don't keep up massively with stuff that Contemporary put out. Like occasionally see a few things, but like everyone was a bit like, there was a bit of on the fenceness about it, I feel like, but I think it worked well, and hopefully they keep doing that.
They say they want to do it quarterly, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Which will be
over time, that will probably manifest new things, because all these different people that usually wouldn't, like different creative sets that normally wouldn't overlap, we're just gonna keep being in the same place over and over again, and walking and being familiar and more familiar with each other. And stuff just gonna happen organically without even doing it intentionally, just by having that happen quarterly.
Which I think is kind of the goal to bring, because
Venn diagrams over and over again.
I think that's the thing, that it is literally that, making that little overlap bigger, though, because there's so many fucking little groups of people, like little tribes and
100%.
people that just never cross over ever, and I think that's where it kind of falls apart a little bit, because some people get really organized for a while and then just drop off, and then there's just, I don't know, there's always that set of people that float between different things, and so hopefully they can kind of bring it together in a good way.
Should blatantly link up, except they don't even know each other exists.
Yeah, and they live around the corner from each other.
You need to link that person and do something along these lines, but you didn't even know that person's a person, let alone know that they're around the corner. So yeah, hopefully that doing that quarterly will just erase to some degree a lot of that. Yeah,
and a lot of the people not knowing each other and feeling like, oh, that's not my space. I hang out at this pub.
I can't go there. Yeah, make it less cliquey. I don't know. I don't feel like it's actively cliquey, like in a, I don't know, spitey or a pretentious, or maybe pretentious. Art scene's pretentious, isn't it? But I don't think it's overly cliquey intentionally. Like people don't want to chill with them people, but they just don't know them, and so it's that batch over there. Yeah, like even this year, in the last couple of months, there's creative batches I didn't know existed that now they're on my radar. Like, oh, okay, you do that 6. So when I want to do blah blah blah, now I know what direction to go.
Yeah,
100%.
What are you thinking outside of collectives and all that shit? What are you doing? And what's Latrice doing? What's the
stuff? I was going to say a bad word. I thought I'd keep it PG. All kinds of stuff. What am I doing in the moment? Obviously, long-term mentality, there's all kinds of different things in the work. Now that this exhibition is done, and when this interview is done, I'm probably going to go home and do some more of those edits on that shoot with Eve.
Nice.
The vampire one.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a time to plug Vampire Dance, actually.
I think so, yeah, because we'll probably come out in the next couple of weeks, and then by that point, the Vampire Dance is, you're talking next couple of weeks. Literally. So, yeah.
I need to chat to that wonderful lady who's in charge of that particular venue. Other venues that could happen, but there's one venue that I'd really like to have. She wants to know how many people we want to have there, and if we've got public liability insurance, and how late we want to go. I'm gonna message the group chat and see what times people think. I think in terms of how many people, though, it's more for them to tell us. I need to ask them what's the capacity. Do you know what I mean? Okay,
yeah, because then you can.
Basically. And the insurance is calm because I had a look, and you can get like single time.
For events and stuff.
We can just get it for the one event.
Yeah, you can sort it out.
So hopefully that happens down there. But wherever it happens, the Vampire Dance, Bad Boy Halloween Party, that's going to go off. All kinds of different creatives involved in making that happen. Eve is in the cut uploading crazy stuff to Instagram. I don't know, she took the vampire thing around with it. She's making all kinds of mad stuff, doing stuff with like fabric. What's she done? Obviously, I'm not a fashion designer, so if I say something that's impossible, then that's why. But I'm sure it was fabric dipped in resin, but then like
I think I saw that.
She put some on her story the other day. She did a few, but she did one thing. It was like a small, like, I don't know, corset type thing, and then she just wanted to make a whole dress. So then she started doing that, and I've seen some of the sketches and designs. Sick. So if they become real, because we should be having we are manifest. Speak reality into existence. There will be a fashion show runway element at some point in the night, and so part of that will be people like Eve and her people, maybe Lucy, we'll see. Basically anyone who's fashion involved and cares about the thing. Obviously you guys are doing your bits in the cut as well. You're doing your stuff. So the people and Essie, East Midlands Demons, and that, he was involved in that shoot he wasn't there present because it was just long, but we've got a couple of his bits. So that would be there. But then also there's going to be, the fancy dress element to it, whether it's people fully dressed in mad Halloween or mad vampiric or just
looking
gothic
cool
and drippy. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to try and make it so anyone who wants to jump on that runway can jump on it. And I think that will make it, one, more inclusive and interactive, but also it will make it so it is more of a thing. Like, say she came through with 6 friends, cool, you can only change so fast. People are only going to hold attention for so long, blah, blah, blah. But if anyone who's, even if you had 2 sections, like one section where it is the actual designers and students who have sat there and purpose-built for this. But then there's another bit straight after where it's just people that want to do the runway. A bit like, what is it? Soul Train. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's just everyone who was there in the set. Those people are not like any particular people. They're the ones who were there today, and they go through and do their thing. That would be hard. With The Cure playing in the background, are you mad? That would be sick. Cool. That would be sick.
Yeah, because this is, so the vampire stuff seems like the first, or maybe not the first, I don't know about it, but like event type thing through Own Your Craft.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, it's the first event type thing. It's the first to be. It's not the first thing ever, because I started OYC when I lived abroad. When I was in Vietnam when I started that. But I didn't do loads with it. I just came up with the name. You know what I mean? OYC, Own Your Craft. Obviously, there's reasons for that. And I did a couple shoots. Then I ended up coming back here and I was doing this and that, and then I was just shooting by myself. So it was just Latrice Grant, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
At one point, I think it was when I started doing studio shoots for myself. I used to work in a family photography studio that will not be named, because if they were, I'd have to say horrible, horrible stuff. You're welcome. Yes, I worked in a family photography studio for ages. I was working there, senior photographer eventually, and them kind of things there, much to certain people's dismay. And then after doing that, because you're shooting families and babies and pets and maternity stuff and generational shoots and cake smashers and all these things, and every now and then you'd get a model shoot come in.
Right.
But before I went there, I didn't really shoot people in a portrait sense. I just did a lot of street photography and candid stuff, and I'd never shot with studio lighting. So the whole time I'm there, I'm shooting people and developing a reference point with that, things that I like, things that I don't like, and then I'm developing the skill. So then I think the first shoot I did, that was like one of my studio shoots. I think it's Thai. Have you got it's on my Instagram. That green light, that's my profile picture, is from the first shoot when I was doing a setup. Thai had there's pictures on there. He had a black t-shirt.
Where he had the bucket hat, the anti-bucket hat.
That's a second shoot I did with Thai. I did one maybe a year later. The first one, I'll show you real quick. Excuse me.
We've had a very a visual show. The 2 episodes I've done today have both had visuals pulled up.
Little bits. Where are we? Back. Yeah, there's the anti-hat.
Yeah, because I think did you show that one at Delve or Cam?
Delve I showed, because it's the same pictures that are in the Enigma piece.
Delve
I showed them individually. So I had Ty at the bottom with the hat. Did it in the middle with the glasses and the stars.
Yeah, and then Jack.
But yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
So this light.
Yeah.
This shoot here.
Oh man, proper going back.
Yeah, this is say my first proper studio portrait shoot. It was on my clock, not company's clock, all that kind of stuff. Did all of that. And then started running with that, shouting certain artists that I knew. Obviously, I meant music as well, a lot more back then as well. So there's all these different people. So I just started pulling people in, pull my cousin in from here, pull this person in from here. Doing all of these bits. And now we're here. Now we've got all sorts. Obviously, along the way, I've started to love that. I'm one with the lights. I like studio lighting a lot.
We know. We're aware.
I love it.
The times you've been here.
Yeah.
It's interesting though that you started with like street stuff and then just that job, which it's weird to have someone be like, there was a job they didn't like, but the actual what you did at the job is what you then like came into.
Making something good out of something bad, that's alchemy.
Because I feel like other people will be like, finally I'm out of that place. Back to street photography that I was doing before would be like the kind of logical
I hear that.
path.
I hear that. I think because I was there like 4 years working there. And I think at a certain point, I already knew I didn't like working there, but I'd managed to I'd managed to acquire studio access for my own shoots that were paid as well, so I could use it. So I got to a point where I used to start saying, insert company name. I said, I don't work for this company name, this company works for me, but not in the sense that they're my employee, but in the sense that working there worked for me at that moment in time. Do you know what I mean? I was able to utilize it and get certain things out of it that still bear fruits now. So yeah, that's good. And I think as well with the photography stuff, because there's a lot of similarities between some of my street photography. I don't know how much of it you've seen.
I've seen
there's some you
I've
can
seen
see like same grades, the same thing that's in the studio, and that was in here. But I'm
same tendencies with color and stuff,
and grading them in similar ways. What's the word? There's a word that someone used the other day about some other photographer. What did he say? Imposing color.
Right.
Yeah, he said a blah blah photographer is able to impose color in some whatever kind of way, you know. So yeah, that's what it actually looks like. But when you get in there and start playing, you're able to make it not like that, or almost not necessarily not at all, but it gets such a different feel from the way just from where you've sent these green into a more tealy area, and where these reds or whatever become a bit more magenta and starts to get a different kind of tone entirely. And
it's weird because it's not how it looks, but sometimes when you do it right, it's how it feels.
Yeah.
So it's like keeping...
Yeah, it's a surreal element. Yeah. It's a bit like we all looked at it with the same eyes, but how did you see it, or how did you perceive it, or how did you feel about it? So you can't actually say how you felt about it, so then you have to make someone else feel a different way. Do you know what I mean? There's colour theory, you know, emotions and all that kind of stuff. And I do other shoots as well. Like I do shoots... Most of the stuff on my Instagram, this is actually true. This is why doing free work at some point in time, not for the whole time, not all the time, and not when people are trying to take the mick, but when you know that it's right for you, doing free jobs or doing fun jobs, not even jobs, like I want this shoot to happen. I want to have these photos. They would look sick. I'm going to make that happen, not wait for someone to, even though the dream is people come and ask you to do the stuff that you do for free. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At some point, it's like, okay, but I actually want to do it anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like I think we said in here before, like we was all kids and artists before we were trying to get money off of it. We were just creative. So really, that's the proper bit. But yeah, most of the stuff, not all of it, but definitely the majority of the shoots that are on my Instagram account, my social media, are things that I've done for free, like in collaborations with friends, or I've just shouted someone, said, let's do this, and you know, we do TFP, I'll give them pictures and a license, and I'll use the pics for what I want. But then outside of that, there's all kinds of different shoots that I do. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's, well, definitely mainly for the money, bread and butter, but still it's enjoyable, do you know what I mean? And the skill set is different. Like I do photography in general.
I think as well though, like my thing, because I used to like, you get commissions in, and no matter where you are in your like creative thing, you're always going to get someone who throws like a curveball at you. And they're like, oh, you're a photographer, could you take pictures of fucking this in this way? And I think there's part of you that's like, yeah, that sounds cool, I'll give it a try. Although it's not really like your forte or your like thing or stylistically, but you give it a go. The problem becomes is when you, because I think you find most photographers, you find the stuff they're actually posting is just their like personal work. Because what you want is people asking you for that.
Exactly.
As if you're doing like a bunch of like curveball stuff or weird stuff. Otherwise, and you're posting that.
If you shoot loads of weddings on the side, but you don't actually want to shoot weddings, but you post weddings all day. Man, I can't keep asking you to shoot weddings. Your clientele is going to become wedding customers. You don't want them, even though you want them.
Yeah, which happened. Oh, I did one shoot with fucking green lights, and the amount of people that asked me for the like just various like block coloring lighting shoots afterwards, and I hated doing it. And it was just like,
whose shoot was that actually? I feel like I've seen it.
Probably. Don't want to say because there's no beef with anyone, but it was just like,
okay.
No, it was.
I haven't seen it.
No. Like,
maybe I have.
Yeah, I've worked with them a few times, but it was just like the amount of requests I got to the point where I was just like, get to the point where sometimes like I'd reach out to someone for like a different project, and then they'd be like, assuming that what I was offering was like me as a working photographer, not like I have this specific project, I want to do this specific thing. They'd just be like, oh, I saw this shoot, it looked really cool, we should do something like that. And I'm like, that's not what I'm working on. That is no. And I'm just like, no, that's not what we're doing.
I hear that.
And then, so I'm a bit more like, at the moment, being a bit more selective with what I post. Because before it was like, people are going to think I haven't done a photo shoot in a week. They probably think I'm dead. Like, I've got to shove stuff out. But actually, it's like just about sort of like making sure at any point, if someone random, because normally it's someone who's never looked at you before that's the one who's going to message you about a job because they're like looking. It's like making sure the stuff at the top is actually like relevant to what you'd want to get opportunities from.
I think it makes it clear what kind of direction you're on as well, because one of my least favorite things is like people that feel they've hired a camera. You know, hired a camera, but they don't know how to use it, so they've got a person that knows how to use it, as opposed to, I mean, there's different kinds of photographers, but especially in our world, photography, you've hired the photographer, but photographer really is a subcategory of artist. Do you know what I'm saying? You've come to an artist, a creative, to create, in theory, because you like the stuff that they create. So then if you get in a room with them and then start behaving as though, this isn't really something I experience with clients, but I'm quite direct with clients. I'm respectful. I mean, me and all the clients, for the most part, we all have good like relationships, even still now. Whether it's people that have paid me or it's people that have done it for free. Historically, we don't do that. Don't shout me for free things, unless it's wicked, and then maybe. No, I should take that back. Don't ask me. But no, I was going to say. What was I even going to say? What did you just say? I do that a lot.
No, it's just the idea of like, I think the vibe I got where you're going to, there's people who hire just to have someone who knows how to use a camera, and then they're like, they don't look into what you actually do. Yeah,
they've not gotten you there because they're getting you there. Like, I want that photographer. They're the customers that I want to me. The ones that have looked at myself and said, I want him. Shoot. Whether it's a pair of shoes or it's your event or it's the portrait thing or whatever. I don't want anyone to shout me. In the ideal dream world, you do your shoots all the time because it's for the bread and butter. Do you know what I mean? But in the ideal world, people wouldn't shout me just because I can use a camera. So the camera is a medium. Do you know what I mean? For example, anyone could go like that of a paintbrush. You don't shout someone just because they can do this. You shout them because of what they do with the paintbrush. What comes out in the end, that's what you want them to shout you for, and that's more specific to you. But yeah, the ones that shout you for different reasons and then act like, I used to experience this a lot where I worked in that place. And some people are coming and they think they just hired the camera. And it's like, bro, there's a certain service we're trying to provide. There's a certain thing we're trying to do.
Because I think my problem as well is like I was doing so much, and it was like, also when you're young, you got to kind of figure out what you like as well. So you can't just be like, you can't for like day one of photography being like, oh, we'll only ever take no matter what opportunity gets thrown at you. Because especially when you start, you get thrown into some random places. Like you got to at least try because it might be really interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
So staying open, but then when you're putting that all out, and then you have someone message you like, "Could you do this shoot?" And you're like, "I don't know whether you want this side of my work, or you want me just to be like you know, generic photographer, whatever, or you want me to do something that you've seen 6 miles deep on my Instagram that I did once, and you know what I mean?" So that's where it got like, okay, I need to fucking pick a lane a little bit, you know what I mean? At least in terms of like where I want to continue building and things, which...
Well, I think at the same time, though, there's also something to do with, I don't like the word style, but stamp maybe. Like one of the shoots I had in here not recently for, we can plug it, Bowery for, I want to say Body and Mind. So, it's their skincare brand. We did a shoot in here that was like an anniversary shoot for their first year of business. But then in that same shoot, we was talking about doing another shoot. So then we went outside. That was more of a portrait shoot, if anything. But then we went into House and Furs, like nighttime or like late evening, and did an actual product shoot in there. But that person hadn't really seen me do anything product. I've done things that are product related. I shot for a Neptune experiment as well, just little bits. But they don't know that really. They don't have someone that comes to me and asks me to take a portrait, you know I can take a portrait, or at least if you like my portraits, you know I can take a portrait. Someone coming to me and asking me for product photography doesn't have the same amount of, conviction. Oh yeah, he's definitely the product stuff's definitely gonna bang. But then if they rate your thing enough and they can see your vision enough, and you know what I mean, I've seen enough stuff, they know it's cool. So she knew it was cool. You know what I mean? It was cool. And there's other shoots I've done. Like I do little eventy things and we're out and about doing our stuff. Like I do some shoots for, I haven't done one in a while, but it's one agency I work for. I do some shoots like for some politicians sometimes.
Right. Okay.
Just like canvassing things and little events and whatever. And that's a weird combination of street photography and portrait photography and candid event photography and and again, that's not something you wake up, well, let me go do that. Let me go shoot some random politician from whichever. No disrespect to which anybody I've shot. But until I know you, you're random. Yeah. But like you say, when the opportunity comes, as long as it makes sense, why would I not do that? Why would I explore that avenue and see what that's like? And then it's actually quite good, you know, like drive around and go to whatever city, wherever they are, whatever constituencies they're in, and you take the pictures that you need to take. And that one is a little bit more of a hired photographer thing. Because it's not so much about, it is about my vision, but it's more about
getting the point across. Like,
yeah, it's elements of my vision, but it's also about like, because there's places they need to be at, pictures that they need to be at, venues, locations, happenings, and there's also a bit more of a limit in terms of the creativeness, because it's not an art product, and it's not for an artistic crowd. It's for everyone ultimately, and so some things need to be a little bit more, we'll say linear, a bit more clean cut, a bit less dynamic and whatnot. So it is more about having the technical ability and somehow still being able to put a little, do you know what I mean, a little thing on it that still makes it extra nice, and extra nice because that's why it came to you and not this person over here. For some reason, even though you're doing the same thing that we asked all these guys to do, when you do it, we like it. There's something about it, whether that's in my color grades or it's just certain things in the composition or whichever. So it's all fun. It's all interesting. It's all good. Obviously, when we blow up and we just want to sit down and man shout me just to do the studio shoot or whichever, that's one thing. But whilst we're on our way and on our journeys, it's all cool.
Yeah. And it's all stuff that feeds in, I find. It's like, you're learning and meeting people that throw in new stuff, and then it just keeps, building it. So it's whatever path you end up being dragged on. Because there's that thing of like, you don't want to get fucking taken for a ride and then you're like, what the fuck, I've been abused. But also you don't want to be too like, I'm doing this way and I don't give a fuck what.
Yeah,
because then
balance.
Yeah, there's that.
Always.
I don't know, going with the flow, but not to the point where you drown. Don't want to get dragged under. Like.
100%. Yeah, it's the order and chaos little battle. There's definitely a balance. There's the ego balance, because the ego sitting there saying, I'm only doing this shoot. I'm only doing this shoot for this much money. Even when you've just started, you think you're wherever you are. Yeah. And maybe you are there, maybe you're not there, maybe you are there, but you don't know there's another place to be or whichever. But yeah, you've got this, you have the thing that you know you want to do in the end. But at the end of the day, life works a certain way, certain little back and forth, certain, exchanges that need to be done. You've not done what needs to be done in order for you to be able to just sit there and say, I'm only doing these shoots, and that happen, and you get what you need to get out of that. You need to.
And weirdly, it's not as like, it's funny you talk about it like an exchange, because I was kind of talking about it with one of the Enigma artists last night, of like the big thing is, regardless of whether everyone at Enigma is like at their fucking the peak of their game, or because some people have only been like doing art for like a few years, or like they've probably been doing it longer, like you say, as like kids and stuff, but only like seriously in it for a year, or like some have only done like a couple exhibitions, some are fucking in double, triple digits of exhibitions, like various stages of art career. But the biggest difference is, it's not like the objective quality of the art that sells it. It's like, is it a big enough progression from what came before? Because I think there's only so long you can like kind of not develop as an artist.
You don't want to plateau.
Yeah.
Some I forget his name now, and it's really disrespectful for me to forget it, because it's a really well-known person. In fact, I'm not going to do that. 1 second. I'm not going to do that, because I was like, some bloke said, not some bloke, that top guy said. 1 second, I'm going to find it. In fact, I'm going to find this whole quote because it's sick. You try not to type in the whole thing. Find keywords. Google search extraordinaire.
We're getting this podcast citations and like Oxford. There
we go. If I play this on my phone, would it come through there? Or would it come through?
Yeah, would it? It might be a bit. Let's try it. Oh wait, actually, we might get fucking the whole video muted.
No, that's true.
Thinking about it.
In fact, yeah. Say it. I'm gonna I'm going to read it as he's saying it. So he says, surround yourself with people whose eyes light up when they see you. Yeah, when they see you coming. It's giving like 3 rules. That's the first one. The second one, slowly is the fastest way to get to where you want to be. And then he says, the one I'm actually on about, 3, the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next. So keep climbing, which is why I referenced it. And his name, imagine his name's not in this bit, I'll cry. It's probably not, you know.
Just uncredited.
Yeah, rude. No, we'll go back and find it if it's not. Back. Come on, Facebook, man. What's your name? What motivational thing? This is jarring my whole life, and I can't not find it now. I have to do due diligence and bring his name up. Because I did that once before. What was it in? It was I know exactly what it was in. And I'm still not even sure if I can remember who it was now. You know on Anti's album, the recent one.
Yeah,
it was
the
that interlude.
interlude.
He was talking, he did a little thing, and I quoted somebody, and I said in the interview, I can't remember who it is. It might have been Plato, but it wasn't Plato. So I'm glad I phrased it like that. He said, there we go, that's what you want, isn't it? This guy better answer the question. Hey, the internet don't want to give him his clout, you know. I'm going to flip and remember his name out of nowhere before I actually see it in here.
Clearly an elusive guy.
Let me show you him. Imagine I show you when you know his name. Look at everyone just posted his stuff and not putting his name there. This is what's wrong, yeah? No one wants to give people credit where credit's due. Don't even get me started. One thing no one can say about Latrice is that you don't give credit where credit is due. I'm tagging everybody, saying everything that everyone did, whether it was for free, whether it was not. Whereas some people are just out here just plagiarizing, man. Jeez. Let me show you him. I can't find his name. It's being long.
Shit, I kind of recognize him, but I don't think I'll be able to.
It's a cool name as well.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to find that, yeah. We'll put it in the...
We can put it in the description.
Put it in the caption or description.
Just flash it up on the screen over this whole 10-minute thing. There's someone behind this camera who's just been screaming like, I know who it is.
I know who it is.
Guys, comment.
This is saying, and weirdly, this is not the name that was in my head. This is saying Andre De Shields. So now I'm going to quickly Google Andre De Shields to make sure that TikTok's not lying too. Yeah, cool.
Going down the rabbit hole.
That's who it is.
So, yeah.
Andre De Shields said that. Big up.
But no, I found it like, it's an interesting thought, because like I was showing Lucy some of my like really, really fucking old zines, like the first one I ever did while I was still at uni, that some people still mention to me about having and talk about, and at the time, like fucking, like, I don't know whether it was just different times, but like everyone who got the zine put it on their Instagram story and was like, got this, and hyped it up, bigged it up. And we looked through that I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is fucking shit. This is way worse than I remember it ever being. But at the time I was like, this is like,
you think it's the coldest thing ever?
Yeah.
But that's good, I think. It's actually one of the best things. It doesn't feel great at the moment, but it's a perspective thing, because...
Well, it's good to know I've got better. It's at least.
Good to know you've gotten better, but it's also good to know that not only has your ability gone up, but your perception has changed. Because there's shoots, it happens all the time. I've done it recently with Eve's shoot, to be fair. Every now and then I do a shoot that I think to myself is the best shoot I've done thus far. Yeah. But then the more time that moves on, I'll look back on that shoot after having that feeling 3, 4, 5 more times. I'll look back and be like, that's not even, that's meaty, that's basic, that's technically flawed, that's, do you know what I'm saying? There's all kinds of problems with that. But when I did it, I thought that was sick, that was the best thing I'd ever done. And then there's nothing right, and it was the best thing I'd ever done. And there was still, do you know what I mean? There was still an element of skill to it, because the person that's this skilled and the person that's this skilled, you're still this skilled. You could be that skilled. Do you know what I mean? It's still some levels. But yeah, it's climbing. But it's good to know that it's not just a case of getting better, because you can get better and not notice it. You can get worse and not notice it, and you can be doing shoots good, bad, and be oblivious. But when your perception itself keeps moving like that, that means that your perception, your thought process is evolving. So what you think is good is changing, and your bar is going higher and higher. Where you're judging yourself is going higher and higher and higher.
But I think that's what other people judge you by as well. Because I did books afterwards where I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool, or like in my head, but actually like thinking about what I released before, it probably wasn't that much of like, wasn't enough of a jump for someone to be like, yeah, I'll get that as well. So even though that book like is, compared to that earlier one, is definitely still like this much ahead, but in terms of like the journey, it was kind of like this flat line through. And there's only like, I think for people who come and see art, they actually want to, especially people who are interested in coming and seeing like I think it's fair to say like with Enigma, most of us are still like probably considered early career creatives, if that makes sense.
Some less so than
like,
others.
Yeah.
But yeah. Like
or everyone's at least still in the first half.
A little bit.
Without trying to shoot
like,
bullets across the...
Because it's my guy, I can say. I feel like Ty is a little bit... You know, he's done a bunch of stuff. Maybe some of it... Because I remember me and Ty have been boys from time, but there was... I remember realising that he was this active with the photography thing, and had already been making books and doing... I didn't really know, because he's not like in the non-artsy circles, because now we cross over in the art world. Before we was boys, and he was doing that thing over there, and Dante as well. And Jamil actually was doing things from a while ago. Yeah. But I remember realising, oh, okay, he's doing a bunch of bits, do you know what I mean, and that kind of thing. So he's actually been doing it for quite a while, and obviously he's been on, maybe I shouldn't, did I plug it? I'm not going to plug it, but he's been on certain TV shows and got certain accolades and done certain bits, and he has like international collaborations and things like that. So it's maybe a little further ahead, but then maybe some of that is...
I think when I say like early, it's not necessarily like, oh, they've only been doing it a little while. I think it's more like, I still, like with Ty, I think it's not like you see Ty and you're like, he's like AC/DC, where realistically they're probably not going to drop another album, but they're still just doing... They don't have to get it. Like, I feel like...
I get you. Not that Ty has to get better, it's in his first run. He hasn't hit the...
He's still going to keep going.
That he's going to hit that will make everyone go, oh, shit. He's not done that yet.
When you look at Ty, you're like, okay, what you're doing now is fucking mad and sick.
Or more importantly,
it's going to get more crazy.
He's not on the way down.
Everyone's
on their way up.
Yeah,
No one's on their way down.
Yeah. I think people who are interested in coming and seeing like, I guess upcoming artists, is I guess what you'd say, but like, or this new artist or like unknown names.
Next, baby.
But like, because I think it's a different crowd of people who will go and see like a fucking, I don't know, David Bailey show or whatever, or someone who's like tried and true established name. Like, certain more obviously people who aren't even into photography will go and see that because it's like, oh, it's this big celebrity guy.
If we do a fashion show now, we're not going to get the crowd that's going to go see Robert Warner or do you know what I mean? We're not going to get his crowd.
Yeah, but it's people who are interested in finding out about like what's actually going on in the now, not looking back at work from like before.
Yeah, what's happening on the ground. I guess that's in a way that's the most alive part. A lot of people say that. A lot of people that have done their thing, that have gotten in music or in acting or whatever it is. And sometimes it sounds cliche, but I feel like if you look at it through the right lens, even without being able to directly relate to it, it's not cliche. They'll say like, once you get to these certain levels, these certain pedestals, these certain echelons of whatever, looking back, some people say it's the years of struggle or it's the climb or the whatever, but that bit where you're doing the most, trying to get you, when you're really doing up all the alchemy, making all the things happen to get to the place where you're trying to get to, as arguably the best bit. And in terms of, like you say, when people want to come and see what's happening, they want to see what's happening, they want to see that. That's almost the most alive bit of it. Because once, like you say, once you get up there, not straight away, you might plateau for a bit, or you might do it again, but in a certain manner of speaking, once you hit a certain thing, it's a matter of time. Not in a bad way, do you know what I mean? But it is, isn't it? Like,
I feel like
most of the artists who don't die abruptly slowly chill. Do you know what I mean? They say slowly fade out in a nice, graceful way. It's not a bad thing. Like life, I mean, you don't have to be going hard until the moment you're on stage. Some people want that, but you don't have to die on stage singing or die in the studio with the camera. You can build the thing up. It's not all about trying to get this money.
And some projects like only really can go on so long. And we're back after minor technical difficulties and a little break.
Okay, I'm back. Wait, I'm going to change my phone's on. Silencio.
We're back, and I'm not sure what we were talking about.
Them ones. What was he talking about? We definitely spoke about not plateauing. The top of one mountain is the bottom of the next.
Just keep
progressing. Don't know how far we went after that.
I think we were just talking about like it was like what people who are interested in like smaller artists and things like that.
And how
they're looking at to see
the bit is the bit that's alive and all that stuff.
Because they get more excited about someone who seems like they're gonna be moving forward than someone who's like, even if they've made a really cool piece, they're just like, okay, that's cool, but you're not going anywhere. So like,
you're there now.
As if unless they've already like actually made it or whatever that means to them, then people are like, okay, I respect it. But I think people get excited about like, oh, you're doing this and then that's going to lead you on to this. It's like people get excited about joining the journey and watching it go. Yeah,
seeing it manifest and seeing the risks being taken as opposed to the fruit of the risks. Do you know what I'm saying? What happens afterwards on the other side? It's like, cool, you're there now. But this is more dramatic. It's more dramatic watching this person go there, and it's more something thrilling. People like the thrill. I see. Maybe that's a little bit what it is. They live for the thrill. So seeing someone that seems like they're doing this thing, it's like a movie happening in real life, especially for someone who's very much the other end of, I don't know, the spectrum of humans. They're not living their life like that, or they're not creative, or they're not pursuing those kind of things. To see a real life human who seems not just doing it, but it's working. But it hasn't fully worked yet. It's an interesting.
It's that gamble of like maybe it will tip over into something, maybe it will crash and burn. It's like that sort of. I guess it's just that drama, isn't it? That kind of like, ooh, is it?
Both people at that point as well, because even haters like seeing that because they're waiting to haters are trying to see you fall off.
Haters
are trying to say it's gonna flop. It's gonna flop. It's gonna flop.
That's true too. But
no, it's not gonna flop. We go hard.
God, it feels like it. I hope, fingers crossed, it doesn't. People don't stop going hard.
Some people will stop going hard. It goes like that a lot. I see that a lot in music and just creative stuff. I think being a bit older than some people makes it give you more chances to see that. And I saw it more. I saw a lot more in music. Even though I don't even make a lot of music now, but I'm also, it's me not making a lot of music is also just because I don't want to say the same things twice. So the first time I dropped a proper project, that was a result of a lot of living and then a lot of hours being put in and do whatever to build this thing, and then blah. So I don't want to make that twice. A lot of people do that. I want to be the rapper that, not that my music is that music, but you know, a good example is them rappers that they were hood rappers doing all kind of things. Then they blew up, and then for the next 8 years they're still making hood trap style music, but you're not in the hood, you're not trapping, so. You're just making the same thing over and over again, and the same beats as that guy. You're not really saying anything. There's not actually any substance to this music anymore. Whatever benefit music is to man, so whatever benefit art is, yours ain't really doing that. You're just sitting in this thing, just milking this little thing. It was negative. It was acceptable then because it was your reality. Do you know what I mean? But now it's not. But I digress. But people do come into it and then jump off of it, and it's hard and it's turbulent, and then different things in life come up or they distract you. Whether it's just work, or they just can't be bothered, or it's relationship, or it's drama, or it's whatever. That's what separates the real. And there's people that just do it because it seems like a good idea. I say this a lot of the time, especially about like certain rappers. Naming no one, but there's a couple of people I've said before that they're a great example of someone that wants to be a rapper more than they are a rapper. People that haven't necessarily blown yet. People maybe you're around.
But talking of quotes that we don't know where they came from, and I'm not going to be able to find it, but I remember. I kind of liked relating it to photography, even though it was about writers. It was like a quote that was like, there's people who like basically what you just said, but like the idea of being a writer more than they actually like being a writer. And I remember like, because I did photography at school and for education, a lot of people like that literally like sat in the classroom with them. So what are you working on there? Like, nothing, man. Realistically, I'm here because this is an easy GCSE. This is an easy A-level. This is an easy degree.
Just grabbing a degree.
Yeah, I just wanted... my parents said I had to go to uni, so this seemed like a piece of piss. And it's just like, cool, you're fun to be about. Why I'm like fucking trying
You're the reason no one rates the fucking degree. Serious shit. Too many people go in there and do nothing. I think photography and certain media degrees get a bad rep. Because it spills out. It's not even that it's not accurate, but it spills out because it will spill onto the lecturer and spill onto whatever. But really, I think it's an intention thing. Yeah, I think people just do it for banter. Yeah,
but people do that in like the non-education world, like real life, like with rappers. People are like, you know what? Actually, I'm a fan of rap music. You know what? If I just do this thing, then I'll be famous, and that will get me out of my sort of people think I'm a failure thing, because you know every rapper's singing about how they're the shit and they've made it and stuff. So I think like it becomes that. I relate to that message. I could do that, and then it's just like, no, you can't.
I think it's easier than it is. Like, so I don't know who it was, but someone saying like, you gotta be prepared to do some shit for 5 years and then see nothing from it. Do you know what I mean? Just be. You have to rate it that much. It's not that it might not go that way. It might be more than 5 years. It might be 1 year. But if you don't rate it enough to just be doing it no matter what, and don't believe in it enough as well, and believe in your own self enough to just.
I think it's about believing in the wrong. Because when you say see nothing from it, it's not like these people who haven't made it haven't seen any. I think it sets up this idea that it's like, I'm either being told I'm going to make £1 million and I'm going to be like famous, or I've got to sit and like struggle. But I think it's like reframing what getting something from it means.
Yeah, it's a bad choice of words. It's not seeing nothing from it. It's not, if you're saying, cool, I want to be a photographer, but you could be a photographer as a hobbyist. You could work at Tesco and be a photographer. So when someone says it in a certain context, that no, I'm trying to I'm trying to, you know what I mean, live via photography and make that my thing, and make that the way that I make a living, like that person works at Tesco, or that person is a banker, or that person's whatever. To do that, not even necessarily to get in the millions, and that is a different conversation. That's cool as well, obviously. Let's go. But
I think it's about when you're not making those like standard formula of like success.
Yeah, you need to love it enough that just doing it and being able to do it that much in your life and have that much time for it, even if you're on the breadline still, but you get all your money from it. Because at that point in time, your quality of life is the same as someone working any minimum wage job. But if you love that thing enough, then your quality of life is way better than that person hates that job. Do you know what I mean? You could be making the same money, but
do you get enough from the act itself? Because like you said, we're all doing it as kids. And it wasn't, like, realistically, no little kid is making money off of their fucking primary school drawings. They're not me. But they are getting something from it in terms that they're, like, you know, you're learning a skill, you're learning stuff about it. If you're doing it in the right way, it's giving you, like, the actual work itself is giving you the feedback and the response.
What they're getting from it is some of the stuff that matters the most, to be honest. Like, because we have to spend, the way the world is right now, we have to spend a lot of time doing shit we don't care about. Especially if we give into that and don't actively work against having to do that. You spend a lot of time doing stuff you do not care at all about.
I think also the fact that people spend a lot of hard, like, it's the difference between some people getting into it because they want to work on something they actually give a shit about, versus the people who get into it because they're like, they don't give a shit what they are working on, which could be a part-time job. But the reality is they don't want to find something they do give a shit about. They just don't want to work on something.
100%. They see it as like, this is easy. I work 7 days a week if I could shoot every day. Maybe not shoot every day because I need time to edit as well. But, I mean, I shoot in the morning, edit in the afternoon. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't really care about a weekend. I was talking to somebody the other day about how I hadn't been on a holiday in years. Granted, I lived away for a bit, but that wasn't really a holiday. Like, everything locked down and no one could go anywhere. And I wasn't too fussed because I'd been away for a bit. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like I said to my friend, it's a thing that we're sold. Just like we're told to go and do this job we don't care about forever. We're told that we should do that and go to this place and lay down in the sun for 2 weeks as well. Do you know what I mean? But if you're not trying to do that game full stop, then suddenly the things fall. I'd love to go to this wonderful, beautiful place, but the way I'm thinking when I'm directing life is not, well, cool, so I need to make sure I go to Spain for these 2 weeks and sit down and then come back and do that stuff I don't like for it. Isn't that cool? How do we create the life where we don't need the holiday from it? We can go and enjoy the holiday because we want to, but how do we pattern it so that it's not required? Yeah, and weirdly, I don't know about you, but like every time I've been on holiday, the last 2 times I've been on holiday, No, because no, but I do have my camera, and I've made. Actually, the last 3 times, and I've come back with, I think it's going to work out about 5 different little projects. This is the thing. So someone will say, "Oh, you're working." Like, who said to me at the exhibition yesterday, "Oh, you're working." It's like, I am, but you don't quite understand. You don't understand that for Joe to go on holiday and not take the camera and walk around taking pictures is a worse experience for him than to go on holiday with the camera and walk around all the time taking pictures, because you see it as a job and a graft and a bore or whatever, and it's like, because it's not an effort. But effort isn't bad. Football players wanting to play football and now they play like it's always an effort. Effort's not the bad thing. It's the slavery. It's the bad thing. It's doing the shit you don't care about. Effort in the wrong direction. But the effort, when you're really about it, you want to make the effort. You're annoyed that you've got to go work and give 40 hours there because that means you can't give 40 hours here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Because a lot of the time I find the frustrating part of life for people who are doing exactly what they want, whether it's creative or running their own business or just doing their thing across any medium or fucking thing, is they actually end up being people where, because they like what they do, everyone gets to a point where it's like, it's not I need a break because I'm sick of this, it's I need a break because I'm tired, because everyone's got a finite amount of
actual
energy.
Exhaustion.
Actual.
But and then the candidate at both ends, like,
and
so
then
I can do it, and then suddenly like hair's falling out. Now I need to stop for a sec. We need to breathe. Stop it.
Yeah. It's like, but I am having fun, but I'll come back to it when I've had a few hours sleep. But everyone tries to give themselves like, right, I'm gonna take a weekend or I'm gonna take a day off. And I've had that like sometimes scheduled in a day off, like right, that day I'm gonna just sit and chill because I can tell I'm gonna start not paying attention or things going wrong and things like that. 11 a.m. on my day off, it's like, okay, so what now? What we doing, guys? Like, oh, I've just had, or just then, like, you try and force yourself to do something else, and you're like, oh, this idea. Oh, okay. And then you're like, well, that went 4 hours. I'm not really had a day off. I've managed to get through maybe a morning or an afternoon, and it comes back because it is just like. But it is, like you say, it's like going on holiday for 2 weeks to sit on a beach and do nothing is like equally as like.
I think the way that we have to live pushes people to crave the comfort zone. And comfort seems like a nice thing, and it's comforting, it's nice. But when it's like a survival mechanism, because people say like the comfort zone is where, ideas go to die and shit like that. Right. People literally like when you're too comfy, even in both ends, you can be really, really successful and get too comfy. Yeah. Like,
my friend said it about like this type of rappers that grafted to get to the point where they had like a big studio album from like straight from the get-go. And then my friend was like, they like one amazing album and then you just never hear from them again. My friend was like, well, it's kind of difficult motivation when you have like a couple £1 million in the bank now. Like it's like suddenly that there's no, it's what drives you to do the thing that I think is
100. And it depends who the person is as well, because some people, depending on your, like, I know I've had different perspectives in life before when it comes to money and wealth and whatnot, and money is the root of all evil. It's not. It's not. It's a little tool. There's a lot of evil things that happen due to lack of it, or maybe there's things that seem unfair, and maybe they are. But it itself is a tool to, I like to say it's a tool to more efficiently manifest your will. Like the more P's I've got in a world that runs the way ours does, the faster or more effectively I can make things happen. Like the more faster I can get something to go from it. It's like GTA. I have this, sometimes I write random bars down in the book, not even lyrics. I just write random sentences. Life is GTA. It is. The only difference is that in GTA, the only missions they have is trap star missions and gang missions. Whereas in real life, you can choose to do that and roll the dice and maybe go jail and have bad karma or whatever.
Or you can choose many
different things. But it's actually GTA. But everyone don't realize it's GTA, and that's where we get the NPC term from, because you're not just walking around following the program. Like the NPC is programmed. Like, literally, what's happening? People are walking around and it's GTA. It's like a film Free Guy, and then motherfuckers put on glasses and see what's going on. Right? And that's what happens. But it's GTA, and people don't realize it's GTA, and they're following a program, whether it's they get it from school or they get it from their parents or they get it from whoever, and they have the other thing that sometimes gets called intrusive thoughts, and sometimes there are intrusive thoughts, but they have the other idea in their head, and everyone says it's impossible, especially if you're a creative. Don't be an artist. Don't study art. It's really hard to do a career in art.
Well, just do the career in the other thing. You can do that art on the side.
They want me to create the comfort zone. Be comfortable. I was trying to be comfortable, and people tell you to live a life that they live and don't like, and they watch people live and don't like, and their parents did it and didn't fuck with it, and everyone's scared to die, and no one's thinking about now. Everyone's either traumatized by then or shook about then, and no one's here. It's not good.
Well, I think the other thing is just with all this, I was sort of thinking like a lot of people talk about like I'm doing this because of my dream of getting to this place, but actually if you
there's a name for that, I can't remember what it is. It has destination in it. Destination something.
Like people get wrapped up in that, and that's the people that tend to drop off kind of quick. As really what you find is like like the same thing that makes people want to go on holiday and sit on the beach is, it's like, what are you actually, same running away from sounds scared, but it's like, where does the motivation come from? Because you have to set up an environment where you then go, because like to be perfectly honest, like I probably wouldn't be like as active as I am as a professional photographer if I didn't know that in like 20 days someone was going to come knocking for money so we could keep this place open.
I hear that.
Otherwise I could be like, well, I've got no, it's like the incentive, isn't it? It's like, you know, you
thoughts like that is when you start to realize that some things aren't as unfair as they seem. They're quite necessary.
Yeah.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what's pushing you forward rather than what are you trying to pull yourself towards, and that's it. And pulling yourself towards something is a lot more kind of, it's harder to maintain, because if you're trying to track your progress and you're being like, oh, well, I'm no closer than I was before, or I'm not there yet, then it's easy to be like, well, if I'm not there now, I never will be.
People do the carrot and donkey game to themselves.
Yeah.
Because you're here, doing the cool. You're there, and the future is there. But when you get to the future, it's going to be, it's like, I like to say this all the time, and I'll try to say it in a concise way, but in a certain manner of speaking, time's not real. There's a couple types of time to talk about, but in a certain way of speaking, it's not real, because you've got now, and every time someone talks about anything that happened in the past, it's not real, it's a memory. When it was real, it was now. Anything you can talk about in the future is an imaginary thing, and when it gets here, it will be now.
Yeah.
And really, I like to say infinite now. It's like a eternal moment. This is like a now forever. And there's this, you have to play this weird balancing game of, because you're not planning to die right now, and as much as you know, I'm going to try and use not certain type of terminology to talk about this, but as much as you're aware of the coming of the future, or we assume the sun will rise tomorrow and we'll get up and we're going to act like that's going to happen. We're not going to purposefully live like I'm going to die tonight. Let me just go and throw everything in the bin and do a backflip off the top of a building because I've always wanted to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? You're going to live like tomorrow's coming, but at the same time, when it comes, it's just going to be now. So you have to play this weird balancing game of taking from the past, but not thinking about it too much, enjoying and relishing the present, but still doing so in such a way that not only makes provisions for the future, but makes it so that when the next present moment comes, like later on when it's now, you'll like it more as a direct result of what you did now when it was now. It's fucked, but it's true. And when people just set a goal, I want to go there, I want to be there, I want to be this photographer, I want to be in this thing, I want this much money, I want to sit in this, it's like cool, but when it gets there, you're going to want something else.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
It's that thing
matter.
of like these, like you meet more like multi-billionaires who are still like, I don't have enough money yet.
Yeah, because it's
my
not
goal
a
is
thing.
my goal is to make more, like to be rich, and it's like at what point do you go, all right, I've done like
and what do you do when do you die? Do you jump off something? I've got 100 billion now. Do you no longer have lust for life? Because if you do still want something, then like that's when you realize. I think Skepta said that in one interview. I think he did it as a really good Skepta interview with his sister, and she pulls him up on something he said before, where he said that he feels like he's ready to die. Not he wants to die, but like he's ready. He could do it. It'd be all right. And she said to him, "When did you first feel like that?" And he said, "When I first started making a lot of money, and I realized that that's not it." Do you know what I mean? And then he comes from the end. I mean, he comes from not having money, and I come from not having money. When he first started to actually see proper money in his big worldwide skeppy, he started to see real money, and then realize, okay, cool, but that's actually not it. That's just a little thing. That's just a little part. Just having a big house wouldn't pattern everything, or having the best job wouldn't pattern it, or me getting the newest camera wouldn't pattern it, or the ideal girlfriend or whatever. None of the things individually will pattern it. There's this holistic thing that needs to go on, and at that point, money is just like food. Do you know what I mean? So I need food can be delicious, and there's all different kinds of money, all different kinds of food, and I can go to some restaurant that's going to charge me £125 for the meal, but ultimately that's just fuel in the body. Maybe that's a bit healthier. Maybe that will mean that if I go gym, I'll get gains faster, or the fibers will be stronger, or whatever. But they're all just little tools to manifest the proper thing to make it so that the now is lit as much as it can be, or not even necessarily lit, but worth it. Yeah, not even about being happy constantly. That's dumb as well, because.
No, that's. I think I think a little bit it circles back to that thing of like people like having a purpose. Like it's like a purpose or I don't know, because I think as well, like with like Skepta's case from the ends, that motivation was like we have no money and that's causing these issues. That's great motivation, but then you get to that point and it's like
Rich people problems, huh?
Yeah, rich people problems, but also like it probably didn't solve as many of his issues as he probably thought it did, and also probably didn't, like, the grass is always greener, right?
Yeah.
So it's sort of just, but I think having a purpose, it's what you do with that. It's like you say, it's a tool, because now he's got it. Like, sure, he probably is ready to die, because it's just like, well, what am I going to do? Double this number again?
But I don't think it's even like ready. Like, again, not like a desire to die, just ready. Yeah. Like, if
he'd achieved
like
what he thought his
I just
purpose
rather
was.
not, because there's shit I still want to do. But if I was to die right now, because I like play with the memento mori thing. I like the concept of remembering that you're gonna die, because it's important, puts things into perspective. Like, if I was to die right now, I could die in 5 minutes. I could die right now. Something could fall out the sky and some piece of airplane could fall off. Could die in 5 years. Could die on my way home, get hit by a car. I'm still gonna cross the road, but it might happen. But it's all right. I don't want it. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be here as long as possible and do as many of the things, because I'm never gonna. I doubt I'm gonna suddenly stop having things that I want to do in life. And if your people are here, you're not gonna stop caring about them. You're not gonna stop wanting to experience. But accepting that you're going to, most likely. You know what I mean?
Most likely.
I said to someone yesterday, someone's like, oh, everyone dies. I was like, you know what? They do, but at the same time, you've only ever seen it happen. I ain't done it yet. I actually say it for a fact. I think we're all going to die, because that seems to be the thing that happens, but I've not experienced that yet. I've only been here. All I've ever experienced is this. This is all I actually know. I've never experienced space. I ain't experienced the depths of the ocean. I've just experienced being alive and interacting with stuff and people. And that's what I know is going to happen. And I like doing that. But
I guess it comes from...
be attached to it, innit?
Yeah, don't be attached. And also, I feel like people start... Weirdly, it's that thing of like, if it's inevitable, then you kind of make peace with it. And you're like, well, okay, so I know I've roughly got... Okay, average, 50 to 80 years.
I don't know, I might just cyborg up. I'm not gonna lie. The other day I saw something. It was the first time in my life when I saw it and thought that might bang, So many times I would have been so anti. What did I see? I was looking at, this is a bit mad. I was looking at jellyfish,
yeah.
Some big jellyfish, and I was looking at the human nervous system, and I was like, right, we're like jellyfish. We're like, you see the big ones that have the really long, the really long, thin ones, and you ever see a human nervous system with no flesh, and it's just brain, eyes, and we're like a jellyfish. It's like someone made a fucking Evangelion suit, like a mech suit, because the human body is really like this really complex machine. We keep trying to replicate it in all these different ways. It's like a machine that's all weird. And we actually almost look like someone put a jellyfish inside a bio suit, because you could take all the flesh off and you'd still be there fully. The bit that's actually the physical aspect of you, because that's not really you, but the physical aspect, if I took everything off, it hurt like fuck because of all the nerve endings. But actually, if someone was finessey enough, some scientists, they'd be doing a lot of growing shit nowadays. If someone was finessey enough to strip all the flesh off, you can sit there, a brain, eyes, and just a stringy nervous system. And psychologically fully be you, right? And then you see some films like, I think, is Ready Player? No, not Ready Player One. Wait for it. Alita.
Right.
Seen it. Battle warrior, blah, 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 blah. And there's a bit in that where, just take someone's head comes out. And Robocop as well, you just said it.
Robocop.
It's just his head and like spinal cord. And they put it in a thing. Now, at that point, people might start living for a long time. The only question is who's going to get to do it if they do that. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Who knows where we're going to be? We might not die at 100. We might not die at 100.
Well, I'm holding out hope for given the time we're alive compared to the Star Trek timeline, they start talking about people 200 years old. So in theory, we might end up being the first lot that kind of break the, break the 150s.
I reckon somebody might have done that already. We just don't know. I reckon somebody might have done it ages ago, and I reckon some people might even do it now. You see that with documentaries, and people go to these little remote places, and it's like, oh, this person is apparently rare years old. There's no really way to know. But that's what everyone in that little village is saying.
We have the blue zones, don't you, where people live to over 100 and shit. And that sort of thing.
Japan's got loads of people over 100.
Yeah, they have a blue zone Okinawa. They also... Okinawa's the place. But they also had a massive issue with... basically, the filing got really bad in the war.
Okay, so some of the records ain't correct.
Families, their elders would die, but they'd, they basically just kind of just board up the room in the house with the dead relative in it and wouldn't report it. And then after the war ended, the people are going back through the records and then they're like, this guy must be about pushing 150. We need to go check in and see what happened. Like, is he okay? And then they go around and then find out all these people. But yeah, there was a period where, like Japan had a bunch of like these 150-year-old people that they were claiming were alive and just fully. There was like, it's a bit of a mad story. But yeah, they do have a blue zone as well, and there's like, I think 7 or 8 across the world. But yeah, and Japan's a weird one as well because I think they're the only country that had like a massive economic boom to the point of like a first world country and didn't get obese as well, which is the other crazy thing. But no, I think going back to it is like, I think at some point, you know, we're all going to get tired, we're all going to die, there's only so much. Maybe I'll concede, but you got to accept that
physically, okay, maybe,
yeah, not even maybe, probably.
I would say like, maybe,
yeah. But if you've only got that time, like, what are you doing with it? And I think it's where people who start being like, I'm not ready, I'm too young to die at like 85, is because it's just like, well, you wasted your time, and that's why you're not ready, because you didn't do something about it. You sat around, and now it's too late to fix. There's people who have done something or are like, okay, I've made some difference. It doesn't have to be like I fucking reinvented the world, you know what I mean? You don't have to have changed everything, because it can be as small as like because that's why you find a lot of old people find peace in just like, well, my grandkids, I've taught them something and they're a little bit ahead of their castmate in this factor that I passed down. Like we're not as omnipotent as human beings. We were built for like small little communities out in fields.
Yeah, not everything has to change the face of the globe to be important.
But I think if we can just leave a mark somehow, wherever big, as long as it has a little bit of impact, that's where it stops being like I'm not to a point where like I'm fucking kill me now, you know what I mean? But I think it's that people who feel like they've wasted, and I think that's when like people get depressed and stuff, because they're like, well, I've wasted 2 years of my life.
People aren't living in their own purpose. Your purpose might be to work on the market and sell fruit, and you do it, and so everybody needs to get fruit. Do you know what I'm saying? Somebody needs to do that. So the world requires that of someone. So it must be someone's purpose. Otherwise, that means whoever is doing it, even though the world needs it, is wasting their time.
You find that with food people, though. Like,
they love it. They live for it. And the right ones are great at it.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm feeding the community. I'm like, if they're doing it right, it's like I'm making people around me healthier, and like they're having a good time, you know, being healthier. I know that this person is now going to live a little bit longer, or like has fended off diabetes for another day or something, because I'm doing my job, my bit, my part, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, how do you make the world, or your little section of the world around you, better? Or it's not even better, because I guess there's no objective better, but like more into what you think the ideal should be.
Sounds like, what's that quote? The risky business of going against the grain or something. I think there's a few, I can't remember whose quote it is at all. There's a video where Nipsey Hussle quotes it, chilling with Gary Vee. And there's some other people that say it, but he says, something like, the reasonable man adapts himself to the world, but the unreasonable man persists in adapting the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite interesting.
I mean,
because if you actually want to change anything,
then
you have to go against the grain.
Be willing to stand up.
If you see that that's not perfect, then it's obviously not, because none of us are perfect, and nothing is perfect. Otherwise, it kind of be no point, because nothing could get better and grow and whatever. So it can't be perfect. So you have the choice of either going along with how it is, or changing, transmuting it.
Which, what were we talking about at the first? Like the order, chaos sort of stuff of like
alchemy. You
go with the flow, but not too much. That's kind of that sort of thing.
Respect the flow.
Yeah.
it's good terminology, because the ocean is like that. If you want to try to fight the ocean, it's going to fuck you up. Do you know what I mean? You've got to find this techie bit where, like with someone who sails or someone whatever, you've got to see what the waves are doing. You've got to know what the wind is doing, but you're still going to turn your sail a certain way and drop your anchor and lift it when you do so. And do you know what I mean? You're going to maneuver it a certain way, but if you don't respect what it's doing by itself, and act like it's doing that, and act like you've got to work with that. It's this two-way relationship, this co-creation thing. You need to both be doing.
The ocean's interesting, because it's the only thing that actively, like, it keeps people apart, but it is the connection point as well.
Paradoxical.
Like it's a weird one. But we're just Oh, dude, we're going. This spiral has begun.
Trying to adapt the interview to myself. No, stop it.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to end it though. We tied the end to the stuff at the start, so it's full circle, time, if depending on how you look at it, which also was brought up in the middle. So it's that movie Arrival, right? We're done. Easy.
Hold tight.
Sick.